Keep yourself in the loop of everything football. Listen to Alex and Jeremiah on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Hello there, I'm Jeremiah.
I am Alex, always and forever here.
Dedicated to college and NFL football. The latest football news on and off the field. NFL draft trade rumors. We've got you covered from the NFL, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC, and everything else in between. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Thank you for tuning into the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, where we talk the latest news, rumors, and games of the NFL and college football, from the latest science to this year's breakout stars and all the news in between. As always, I'm Jeremiah.
And I'm Alex. That's a great intro.
Yeah, it was a great intro. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I respect you.
Respect you. So today is our Mountain West Division Conference preview.
Yeah, we're going to break it down from the Mountain and West divisions. And I'm really excited about this. This is probably not the only, but this is the most excited I've been for any of these conference previews.
You know what makes me laugh is every division, like Pac-12, they have the North and the South, right? They have them broken up. I like how the Mountain West has the Mountain and the West.
Well, if
like,
you think
that
about
is so
it,
stupid.
if you think about it, it makes sense for it to call the Mountain Division in a way, because you know the teams that are in there, you think of mountains like Boise State. For some reason,
New Mexico.
No. Okay. I agree
Air
with you.
Force. I think of the skies.
I think of the air.
I get what
I
you
think
mean.
of the weather.
I get what you mean. Wyoming, Utah.
That's why I meant
Nevada.
why. That's why I understand why they broke it down like that. But yeah, it is kind of funny.
I just think you couldn't do South and North and.
Or they could have the East or West.
Yeah, why not? Why? That's like going. We have the Big 12 today. We're going to cover the Big and the 12.
The Big and the 12. Or if you go to the SEC, we're going to go to the South and to the East. Actually, that's how they break it up, actually. Or no, they break it up East and West. But anyways, Alex is going to break down the Mountain Division, and I'm going to break down the West Division. And we're going to tell you our predictions for the Mountain West Conference game, who is going to come out on top, and who's going to be the Mountain West champion. Pretty much. Hey, so Alex, do you want to break down the Mountain Division first?
I do, man.
All right, tell the listeners what you think of this division.
All right, so I'm going to pretty much cover, like I said, covering the Mountain West, the Mountain Division side. We have Boise State in there. You have New Mexico. You have Air Force. You have Wyoming. You have Colorado State. You have Utah. So I'm going to go from top to bottom.
So who's going to finish first to
who's
6?
Going to finish first?
Okay.
Yes, because I have more in depth from 1 to 6. So I'm going to start with who I picked to win the Mountain Division, of the Mountain West, and that's Boise State. They went 9-4 last year, 5-3 in conference though, so not as what's the word I'm looking for? Not as successful, in the actual conference itself. But they did win 9 games, like I said. They started off hot, winning 7-2 pretty much in the beginning of the year.
And they hit a roadblock in November.
Yeah, November they struggled hard, especially in division games, as a matter of fact.
2 games that actually cost them that division, if you think about it.
Exactly, 2 games that cost them the division, yeah. So they look to have a better year this year. They returned true freshman from last year, now sophomore, star QB Brett Rippon, who is the nephew of the Washington Redskins great Mark Rippon. He returns after having a breakout true freshman year of 3,353 yards and 20 touchdowns to only 8 interceptions. He was first team All-Mountain West, as a matter of fact. And they returned proven playmakers at the running back and wide receiver position in Jeremy McNichols and senior receiver Thomas Spurbeck. But the lack of depth otherwise at the skill positions is a problem for them. And they only returned 3 of their starting 5 offensive linemen from the prior year, losing their center and guard as well. The defense had a pretty disappointing 2015, but they actually ended on a very high note, holding Illinois to just 33 yards total in their win at the Poinsettia Bowl, which is very impressive.
They smoked
33 yards.
Yeah,
Are you
they
kidding me?
smoked Northern Illinois.
Yeah, 33
Smoked
yards,
it.
man. Come on. The D-line needs to be rebuilt. They returned just one lineman with any significant game experience. D-tackle, that's it. So their D-line really needs to be rebuilt from the bottom. Their linebacking core is a strength, though. They return all three of their starters from the prior year, middle linebacker being the leading tackler, followed by the other two linebackers right behind him as the leading tacklers on defense. But their secondary is just as inexperienced as the defensive line, only returning two seniors that weren't starters from the prior year at the safety positions. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they handle this year. I still have them winning at least 9 games. My current prediction for them is 10 games. The defense is going to be has troubles, especially against option teams, which happen to be Air Force and New Mexico in their conference. Those are two teams that they need to. They lost to both of those last year, so they really need to work on option teams. Those are heavy in the Mountain West, especially those two teams, and they need to work on their rush defense. Otherwise, this is a proven team in terms of offense, and they beat proven teams last year, including Washington. Their defense is going to be kind of middle ground in terms
Washington, they're a pretty young team,
but they're going to be pretty good this year, as we talked about in our Pac-12 preview.
We did.
They kind of have a middle ground record. I mean, not record. Excuse me. What's the word I'm looking for? They have a middle ground schedule ahead of them. They do start the season against the Lafayette Raging Cajuns. So that
I love that name, Raging Cajuns.
University of Lafayette Raging Cajuns. So that's going to be probably a win for them. But they visit. No, actually, I'm sorry. It's a home game. They play at home against Washington State, who obviously is my favorite team in college football, and a team we had ranked, I think, third. Both of us had ranked third
in the
Pac-12 rankings.
Yeah.
Who is a very good up-and-coming team currently. They play them, and they have the week off, and then they stay in the Pac-12 and play Oregon State. But then they have a decent stretch of games within their division: Utah State, New Mexico, Colorado State, BYU, Wyoming, and they play out of the division there for a couple games, playing San Jose State and Hawaii before ending the year against UNLV and Arizona. I'm sorry, not Arizona, Air Force. Excuse me. I looked at it and
I was like,
saw
Arizona.
AIR, but it was Arizona against Air Force. Excuse me, who is not going to be an easy win this year by any means. I'll get to that in a moment. But it's going to be a tough stretch for them in terms of just conference game after conference game after conference game. I still see them winning 10 games. I think this offense is going to have a very good year, just with the cohesiveness they have moving forward from the year prior. And I'm really looking forward to Boise State football. I had a friend that went to Boise State. I currently have a friend of mine that used to be my neighbor before moving up there. His family then since moved as well, that goes to Boise State. So I'm interested for the most part, but one of my really good friends is a graduate of there. So I've always kept an eye on them for the most part. And, it's going to be a fun season for them.
Yeah, and the thing about Boise State's offense is they have 8 starters returning. And this is an offense that averaged 39.1 points per game last season.
Yeah.
And the thing that I want to point out is from October 1st through October 20th, they have I think it's a pretty tough slate of games because, the teams on this schedule is Utah State, New Mexico, Colorado State, and BYU. BYU, of course, is an independent. We talked about them in our independent preview. Mm-hmm. But Utah State, New Mexico, and Colorado State, those are 3 teams that expect to be bowl eligible and maybe even be better than people are expecting to be. So I think that's probably the toughest stretch they're going to have this whole season. Mm-hmm. And, of course, they're going to end the season at Air Force, which is probably their second toughest game. No, probably the third toughest game on the schedule. I think BYU probably being the second and Washington State being the toughest.
Yeah, I Washington State, that kind of offense is going to be tough for them. And like we said, too, New Mexico probably and Air Force are going to be tough games for them because we have yet to see if they can provingly play provingly is a word, play a option offense. So we'll move on from there. But, yes, 10 games of wins for them.
I have them at 11-2. 11-2, yeah.
Okay. So moving on to my second team is Air Force. They went 8-6 last year, but 6-2 within the conference. And guess what, man? Air Force has a quarterback that can throw better than he can run.
Really?
I repeat,
right.
Air Force has a quarterback that can throw better than he can run.
No disrespect, but that's pretty shocking. I'm kidding.
Nate Romine returns from a severe knee injury, but he is paired with another Air Force anomaly who's a very gifted receiver. and that's Jalen Robinetti. I'm not sure how you say his name.
I think it's Robinette.
All right. Well, I said it right the first time.
I would say like that, Robinette.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, these two could actually surpass 1,000 yards receiving, together. He's not only do you have a quarterback that can throw better, they can run, but you have a receiver who's a very talented young man who plays for obviously an option, team. So that's very interesting. And not to mention, the team itself played well, but a good season started. It ended pretty bad, as a matter of fact. The defense gave up 159 points in its final 4 games. 159 in 4 games. That's
a lot. But the thing I do like about the Air Force is, dude, this offense can seriously flirt with 40 points per game.
Yeah, they average 33.8 points a game.
They're just as dangerous, maybe even more deadly than the Boise State Broncos.
I think when you have a team that runs the option really well, those teams are hard to defend because there's, when they run it well, look at the Panthers in the NFL this year. When you run the option well, there's so many things you have to account for, and it puts so much on every player on the defense. But like you said, they average 33.8 points a game. It's realistic to imagine they could get close to 40 points a game. They have an undersized defense, but if it can hold up, I got them winning 9 to 10 games.
I think they're going to win 10 games.
I got them winning 10 games too. Like we said, they do have a schedule that's not as tough as some other teams. They start against Abilene Christian and they play Georgia State and
two FCS teams.
Yeah, and then they have exactly. Then they're off for 1 week and then they go Utah, Navy, and then they start their stretch of games to an extent. They go Wyoming, New Mexico. They play Hawaii as well as most of these other teams, but then they go Fresno State, Army Black Knights, Colorado, San Jose State, and then Boise State. So if that's
going to be quite a matchup at the end of the year.
Boise State, that'll be a good one. Those should be.
That's one of my favorite matchups to look forward to in college football.
Those are my 1 and 2s right there in this division, and this side. So those should be some heavy games right there. And then obviously the Navy and Army games between Air Force are always good games. So I imagine those being pretty solid. I move on to my number 3 team, and that would be New Mexico. I have New Mexico finishing, the Lobos finishing number 3. They finished 7-6 and 5-3 within the conference last year. They played some very big games last year in the Mountain West, as a matter of fact, but with an impressive and improved consistent defense and an offense that turned the ball over from the quarterback position a little more than you want. They're going to struggle. Their quarterback turned the ball over 14 times, which is double the last regime by far. It's interesting because it's a team that deploys a 2-quarterback system with junior Lamar Jordan and you have senior Austin Apodaca. It's going to be really interesting to see how they handle that. I've never liked the idea of a 2-quarterback system.
Yeah, I don't like it either. Like, because you always said when you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have
one quarterback.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have 1 quarterback. So I mean, unless you're going to run 2 type of system quarterbacks, it's just I don't like it. They start the season against South Dakota, then they go and they play at New Mexico, at Rutgers, and they have an off week, and then they go San Jose State, Boise State. They play Air Force. They play the ULM. Oh, it's the Warhawks. I'm sorry. I couldn't tell. ULM Warhawks. They play Hawaii, just like every team in the division this year. Nevada, Utah State, Colorado, and Wyoming. So they're going to have a strong stretch of Mountain West games there to end the year. Honestly, I think the biggest test for them is going to be October 7th and October 15th. That is week.
Then 1 and 2
7
teams
and 8
in that division back to back.
Back to back.
Back to back.
Those are going to be tough for them. Yeah.
If they can compete well in those games, though, I think that they can have a really good season.
Yeah.
If they compete well.
Mm-hmm. Personally, I have them winning 7 games again. It's going to be tough for them. Their defense is consistent, but their offense was very sporadic last year. If they can improve their offense, I could see them upgrading in terms of wins here, but I have them winning 7.
I actually have New Mexico as the number 4 team.
Well, my number 4 team is actually going to be Utah State.
I have them as my number 3.
Okay, yeah. And I mean, they're very similar teams. I have Utah State on the cusp again, but I will explain to you. The Utah State was 6-7 last year and 5-3 within the conference. This was a loaded. The Mountain Division was very, very close, excluding Wyoming at the bottom, who you'll all I'm sure can see where I'm going to.
Wins.
Yeah, every team had at least 7 wins, excluding Wyoming, and a lot of them played well in the division, as a matter of fact, which is weird because you imagine if a lot played well, there'd be some that didn't play well because it would have to shape out that way, but it didn't. Wyoming. We'll get there. Utah State, 5-3 within their conference. It's a team that dominated my number 1 team, Boise State, 52-26 last year. Fresno State, who Jeremiah will get into in his description, in preview in the second half of the show. Fresno State 56-14, and they had a close win with also in Jeremiah's side in the West there. Excuse me, Nevada 31-27. They do face a little bit of a tougher schedule this year in teams like USC Week 2 at USC in LA. They're going to be playing them on the road, and they play the up-and-coming San Diego State at home,
which I will talk about later in the show.
Exactly, right after Fresno, who's going to be looking for some revenge. But Fresno State starts a stretch of 5 straight Mountain West games to end the year. 5 of 6. They play BYU at home for BYU. They play on the road.
One of the big
rivalry games for them in the state of Utah. But the 5 of their last 6 games are within the conference. It's going to be a tough stretch for them. They're playing against improved teams like UNLV, who should have a better year this year. My number 2 team, Air Force, and the Heavy West Division favorite, San Diego State, all in the last half of the year. So it's going to be a tough stretch for them, in my opinion. And they have New
Mexico.
Yeah, and they have New Mexico, exactly, who was my number 3 team.
And they have Nevada, who is, I would get into later.
Who is my opinion, I think they can finish second to third.
And I will tell you where they were finished later in the show.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
But it's going to be tough for them. I see them winning 6 to 7 games this year. Their division's a lot tougher than it was last year, and their schedule is tougher too. So I give them 6 to 7 wins. The tell of the year for them is really going to be starting in October 22nd through the end of the year. Starting right after their bye week, like I said, they have 5 of 6 straight division games, and then you have your rivalry game to end the year. So it's going to be really a big tell for them starting that bye week, where their season's going to head. Because not only that, leading into the bye week, you have Arizona and Boise back-to-back, and then Colorado State as your kind of, depending on how they play, your break, in terms of tough teams. Your first, stretch of games, your first 6 games, you have, USC and then the 2, in my opinion, 2 best teams in the Mountain Division. So it's going to be a tough year for them. I got them winning about 6 to 7 games.
I got them winning 6, and that is I don't see them, doing well in the first half of the season. USC, that's going to be tough playing at the Coliseum.
Yeah,
Always
it is whoever plays there.
Whoever plays there at all. And then, of course, you got Air Force, September 24th. And the week after that, Boise State. Those are 2 tough teams in their division yet alone. The 1 and 2 teams, according to Alex. And they could also play Colorado State as well, who is a team that's on the up and up this season, and who can probably surprise some people. I think they can. And of course, they got San Diego State the second half of the year, which is probably going to be a really tough game because San Diego State can honestly contend for a undefeated season. But I will get into that later in my West Division analysis.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to finish off my discussion because I'm not going to let's put it this way. I have Wyoming finishing last. Okay. I'm not going to really get into it. They won 2 games last year. They happen to be 2 division games, but I don't see them winning, more than 3 games this year.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I don't see them winning any more than 3. I got them maybe at 2 wins.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm going to get into my 5th and final team of my discussion, and that's Colorado State. So Colorado State finished 7-6 last year, 5-3 in the division. They actually finished higher than Utah last year with a 7-6 record and a similar conference record. But they won 5 of their last 6 games, including a home win against Air Force, 38-23. And they won all of their conference games, as a matter of fact. They won all 5 of their 6 remaining games, which were all conference games. With almost an identical schedule to last year, it's going to be pretty interesting to see if they can duplicate their win total in 2015 against, again, improved teams like UNLV, Air Force, and then a heavy West Division favorite, which is San Diego State, like I already said. They play straight off to start the year. They go Minnesota week 4 is probably their toughest test at that point. They do play Colorado to start the year, but Colorado State, we'll see how that goes for them. Then they go in pretty much Mountain West to start. They go Wyoming, Utah State, Boise State, UNLV, Fresno, Arizona, New Mexico, and San Diego State to end their year starting week 5.
Air Force, they play Air Force on November 12th during that stretch as well.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Okay. I'm saying they have all of those. Those are all Mountain West teams, starting pretty much after Minnesota week 4. From then on, they play all of their division games.
I mean, that's tough. They got Arizona State, Arizona State, my bad. San Diego State. I don't know why I said that.
It's okay. I said
Air Force and Boise State all on the road as well. So that is a tough stretch for probably the best 3 teams in this conference.
Yeah. I have them winning about 6 to 7 games also.
Yeah.
It's pretty close between Utah and Colorado.
Yeah, I have them winning 6 games. I do think they're going to make a bowl game.
All right, man. I like to hear it. So I'm going to take our first break here because Jeremiah's going to take the next half of the show, and he's going to do our our preview of the west side of the Mountain West.
West side?
All right.
West side?
So Jeremiah and I will be right back, you guys, at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. And previous
Jeremiah's turn.
Yes, it is my time to shine, baby. You know, Alex did the Mountain Division, and I'm doing the West Side Division. I'm sorry, I had to say that, man. You know.
No, you didn't.
I did.
No.
Yeah, I did. Come on. All right. Well, anyways, I'm gonna start off from top to bottom. Who I think is gonna finish first through last. And I'm going to start off with the heavy favorite in the West Division. That is San Diego State, of course. They went 11-3 overall last season, undefeated in the Mountain West play, 8-0. These guys had an incredible year. The Aztecs took a huge step forward. They look to keep that momentum going. They're coming off a 11-win season, which ties them for the best mark in program history. Now, I do think they have a chance to eclipse that number this year. And I wouldn't question out an undefeated season as well.
Well, they do have a tough schedule this year.
They do have a tough schedule this year.
They play Cal week 2. They play the likes of all of their teams. I mean, other than Cal, it's not super tough, excluding their division teams. You know, and those you can never expect a reasonable prediction.
You can never expect to blow everyone out.
I mean, 4 of their first 5 weeks, excluding their bye week, they have New Hampshire, Northern Illinois, and South Alabama.
Yeah,
and then they start their stretch of Mountain West games.
Yeah, they should pretty much start off really well.
They should start off, depending on the Cal game, they should start off week 5. They should be 4, and we'll see from there. You know, maybe 5-0, depending on the Cal game.
And the offense includes reigning Mountain West Offensive Player of the Year, running back Donnell Pumphrey, and he actually decided to skip the NFL draft. He wants to challenge Marshall Faulk's career rushing record.
Oh, I can dig that.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, Marshall Faulk's record is set at 4,589 yards when Marshall Faulk played for the Aztecs 1991 to 93. That is when the San Diego Aztecs were in the WAC, which no longer sponsors football, I believe. I believe so. And it's feasible Pumphrey will get that record because he only needs 4,270. No. He has.
I was like, he only needs 4,000 yards.
No, I mean, my bad. I read that so wrong. He has 4,589 yards right now. Actually, no, I read that so wrong again.
Oh,
4,272 yards is what he has.
All right.
Yes, that's what he has. He has 4,272 yards as of right now, and he rushed for 1,653 yards in 2015. So it's pretty feasible he's going to get it. And so with the return of Pumphrey, it's going to benefit the development of quarterback Christian Chapman, who went 3 straight games to end the season after Maxwell Smith was sidelined to injury. And it's going to be interesting to see Chapman's development. He needs to prove he can be a downfield thrower. And solid quarterback play is going to be important because they don't really have a strong receiving core. on this roster.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the weakest link on this offense, and so that's going to be very important for Chapman's development. And last year, Pumphrey was the leading receiver with 28 receptions. That's a running back.
28
receptions.
That's a little rough.
Yeah, and next on the list was Mika Holder with 24 receptions.
All right.
Yeah, so with 3 stars on the offensive line, Pumphrey should have a good year again. Because remember, this offense rushed for a school record, 3,266 yards last season. That's total yards. Yeah, so pretty much this offense is going to run pretty heavily from Pumphrey. Now going to their defense, the Aztecs are also getting back the Monte Kazi. He is the reigning Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year. So they got the Mountain West Offensive Player of the Year and the Defensive Player of the Year. So they got 2 of the best players in the conference already. And Casey, he was originally going to the NFL draft, but changed his mind a week later. So that is a huge boost for this defense, who I think is going to be even better than they were last year. So because he's ball hawking ability keeps the Aztecs defense as the best in the conference.
Yeah,
at all.
It definitely.
They're like the best, and they have the ability to shut Boise State down, Air Force down. This defense has that ability. And other returning starters on the defense include safety Malik Smith, who had 5 interceptions. He was 3 behind KZ's 8 interceptions. And defensive ends Alex Burnett and Kyle Kelly. Yeah, so
Burnett or Burnett, sure.
No, it was Burnett?
Burnett or Burnett, I imagine. Same
Burnett?
Thing. Yeah.
All right, well, they have all those guys coming back. And this defense last year allowed 16.4 points a game. And they allowed 17 or fewer points in 9 of the final 10 games. And with so much talent returning, the Aztecs should be able to take a huge step forward. And also something I want to point out before I move on, they also have the reigning special teams player of the year. That's right. They swept every award in that conference.
Man.
Yeah. And Rashad Penny, who was absolutely dynamic last season in the return game. And with San Diego State's top returners in offense, defense, and in special teams, I predict the Aztecs will finish 11-1.
Okay.
Yeah. With that one loss possibly becoming against Cal.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's reasonable.
Okay. All right. Thanks, man. All right.
Yeah.
Number 2, I have the Nevada Wolfpack, who finished 7-6 last season for Mountain West play. Nevada is coming off a second consecutive 7-6 season. After finishing with that record in 2015.
Yes.
9 stars are returning, and coaches Brian Pullian's 4th season. And starters on offense that are returning include junior running back James Butler, quarterback Tyler Stewart, and a receiving corps that consists of seniors Hashawn Henderson, he's really good. 6'5" frame. He has ability to be an All-American player this year.
Yeah, I got to go see them in person last year. I had a teammate from my high school football team that played on Nevada that's currently with the Green Bay Packers. And so I got to go to a game last year.
Is that Don Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Is it Don
Jackson?
Jackson, okay.
Yes, sir. And Booker, I saw him play. I got to meet him after the game when he was talking to Don. He's a good player. That quarterback's a good young player, too. And, I like Nevada. Nevada's a good team. Fun fact, where the old stadium used to be, they used to go up with their cars, and they would use the lights to light up the field so they could play. Cool, right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, and another thing I want to get into about this offense was that 5 starters on the offensive line are upperclassmen. That's the first time under the Brian Pullian era that has happened. And Tim Cramsey, he is coming from the FCS, Montana State, as the offensive coordinator, but is also a part of the Chip Kelly coaching tree. And they will.
It's not the biggest tree.
Well, it's growing.
It's like a ficus.
Well, if you look at Chip Kelly, what he has done in college, it's pretty significant. You know what I mean? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they're still, they're still going to run the pistol, but they're just going to run a variation of the pistol.
Yeah, it's like a pistol spread offense.
Yeah. They're going to run it. more spread formations and all that.
They definitely have a strong schedule week 2.
Yeah,
it's gonna be tough for them playing Notre Dame at Notre Dame in South Bend.
And we talked about Notre Dame in our previous conference preview.
We did, yes.
We did, and you can still listen to it, guys, on iTunes.
Yeah.
Anyways, I want to talk about Nevada's defense here. The Wolfpack will have to replace 6 starters in the front 7. That is not easy. That is not going to be easy to accomplish. Malik Reed and Patrick Kuja will have to step up at the edge as defensive ends. And the only returner in the front 7, try to say this name really fast, Saucy Fermo.
Wow.
Fermo. Try to say that really fast.
I don't want to.
I don't want to either.
Saucy Fermo.
Fermo.
I'd have to see how it's spelled.
Okay. It is spelled his last
No,
name.
I'd have to read it. Don't say it to me. I'd have to look at it and read it.
Okay, well, look at it right now.
Okay, you keep talking. I'll look it up.
You can interrupt me. Just raise your hand,
okay.
like we were in elementary school here. All right, and then there's concern at linebacker, as well as 3 of the guys, because they're going to a 4-3 defense, switching to it.
How do you spell his first name?
Oh, Saucy, S-A-L-E-S-A, and his last name is F-A-R-A-I-M-O. What'd you find? All right. Well, anyways,
Salesa Ferramo. Salese Ferramo.
Say real fast.
Salese Ferramo.
Say it really fast again.
Salese Ferramo.
Keep going.
No.
Okay.
Keep doing your thing.
I like messing with Alex on this show. It is great. All right. Back to what I was saying about the Nevada's linebacking core. Gabe Sewell, Alex Bartrondo, and LJ Jackson, they combined for a total of 3 starts. 3 starts ever. That's in the linebacking corps. So it's going to be difficult for defensive coordinator Scott Boone to turn this unit around, who have improved in points per game since taking over as the coordinator in 2014. So many questions on defense than there is on offense. I think Nevada is going to have a little bit tougher time, but they will finish 7-5 in the conference.
All right. Number 3.
Number 3, yes. San Jose State Spartans. Remember, they finished 6-7, but they were one of the programs in the FBS to receive a bowl invitation with a 5-7 regular season record.
Yeah.
They were one of those teams. Remember how that fiasco and when all these 5-7 teams went? Mm-hmm. Which is something we might bring up as the season approaches. But anyways, the Spartans didn't waste the opportunity as they beat Georgia State 27-16 in the Cure Bowl. Mm-hmm. And December 19th, I think, if that's the date. So with 15 starters returning, can the Spartans move forward? That is. And I think they possibly can. I think they can improve on that 5-7 record. But I want to break down their offense and defense real quick. San Jose State has 8 starters returning, including quarterback Kenny Potter. His go-to guy as well, tight end Billy Freeman, along with Tyler Winston and Tim Cronley at the receiver position. So 4 stars also return on the offensive line, which is huge for any college program. But will all that be good enough for whoever runs behind this O-line? Because remember, career leading rusher Tyler Irving graduated. He's an all-purpose yardage ever in the program. But they will possibly go with a running back by committee.
I imagine so.
Yeah, so it might be a full-blown committee.
Full-blown, yes.
Full-blown.
Okay,
yeah. So
what do you have on their defense then?
Like the offense, the defense also has a lot of experience as well, with 3 on the defensive line. And they also have Christian Tago and Frank Ginda returning in the linebacker court, which is huge to me. And Maurice Knight is also coming back at safety. So the defense will be key for the Spartans' success this season. And I will predict they will finish at 7-5, taking a slight progression from last year.
All right.
And then
4.
Just real quick.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to run through 4 through 6.
Okay.
All right. UNLV. They finished 3-9.
I do see them playing a lot better this year.
I do see them taking a step forward.
UNLV,
I do see them taking a slight step forward. The Rebels would look to take a step forward under Tony Sanchez, who is on his second year as the head coach there. And last year, UNLV lost 4 games by 8 points or less, so they could have easily went 7-5. and I think they're going to figure out how to win these games.
Okay.
With Fresno State, Wyoming, Nevada, who should be a lot better.
Well, UNLV and Nevada, that's the rivalry game there.
Yeah. They have all these 3 teams at home this year. Despite them taking a slight progression, I still had them finishing 4-8 because it's still a young squad with the coach that's in the second year. Mm-hmm. And I think they're only a year away from being a bowl eligible team.
Okay.
But you never know. They might surprise me.
I'd say definitely their biggest threat and biggest challenge this year would be week 2. UCLA.
Oh, definitely.
At UCLA in the Rose Bowl.
It's probably going to be their biggest, probably toughest contest of the year.
Oh, guarantees the toughest contest of the year.
Okay, well, anyways, my number 5 team is my hometown Fresno State Bulldogs. Yes, they finished 3-9 last season, and after leading Fresno State to a Mountain West title 2013, Coach Tim DeRuyter is on the hot seat because the Bulldogs only have 9-17 record since 2014. That was after Derek Carr left, so Derek Carr was very huge for DeRuyter's success, coming in. And there's some concern that if was it Derek Carr's team or was it just
Fresno?
Yeah, when like in Fresno,
yeah,
it was like did they win those games because of Derek Carr or was it because of the team? And it looks like it was just mainly because of Carr. And
you have them really taking a step back.
I do have him taking a step back, and because Tim DeRuyter, he's on the hot seat. He's probably the coach that's probably most likely to get fired on this list. Yeah, he's probably on the hottest seat of them all.
Okay.
Hottest seat. Well, quarterback play is a major concern for the Bulldogs. Fresno State only played 4 last year. Running back Martez Waller was gone. Their defense only has 4 starters returning with crossover games versus the Air Force, Utah State. Colorado State is looking like another tough year, and I think Tim DeRuyter's time at Fresno is done after this season. I have them finishing at 3-9.
I think the game you're looking forward to most would be week 2. I imagine. Am I correct?
Can you remind me what that week 2 matchup is?
September 10th, at home for Fresno State against
the Sacramento State Hornets.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I am a Sacramento State alum. So I might make the trip down for that game. It is at Bulldogs.
I'm saying you are from Fresno.
I am from that area, so I might make the trip down. I don't know yet. I have to discuss with some people back home if they want to go to that game.
If they want to see you.
If they want to see me.
Answer's no.
Or I don't know if I should wear my Sacramento State shirt or Fresno State. I'm probably most likely going to wear the Sac State alumni shirt because it's just whatever.
I mean, that's what you are.
That's what I am.
You can't.
But yeah, that is a matchup that I am looking forward to, and we'll see how that matchup goes.
All right.
We'll just see how the matchup. But anyway, my last but very least on this list is Hawaii.
But very least
is Hawaii. Hawaii. They finished 3-10 last season, 0-8 in conference play. But the Rainbow Warriors, the best name.
Rainbow Warriors.
The best name, the best mascot in the conference, have hand over the coaching duties to former Hawaii quarterback Nick Rolovich, who played quarterback for the program in 2000 to 2001.
Just 1 year.
Hey, but he played really well during those 2 years. So
true.
That's just me. Hawaii was one of the worst teams from top to bottom last season. That is in all of college football. It's possibly looking like another tough year. They have 5th year or super senior, I like to say. I say this name very fast, Alex.
No.
Kaikai Woosley.
Kaikai Woosley.
Yeah, quarterback. Say that really fast.
I just did. Kaikai Woosley. Nope, I'm not doing it again.
Yeah, okay. He's the only quarterback on the roster who has thrown a Division I pass. Running back Paul Harris is returning. He eclipsed 1,000 yards last season. They have 4 stars returning on the offensive line. Kevin Limpa returns as the Hawaii's defensive coordinator after a 13-year hiatus. Remember, he was a part of June Jones' coaching staff during that era. And Hawaii will have to travel 40,000 miles. 40,000 miles.
Yeah, it's quite a few
miles.
That
is a lot. That is a lot more than most NFL teams these days.
Yeah, well, they're traveling over the water all the time.
Yeah, so that is...
Not to mention they have a game in Australia week 1 against Cal.
Yeah, That is, yeah. So
they got to go Cal, and they got to go back to the United States, then back to Hawaii, and then back to the actual states, and then Hawaii, and then the states, and then Hawaii, and then the states, Hawaii states, Hawaii.
Say that really fast.
I sort of did.
No, say it faster. I'm kidding.
I think their toughest, matchup though is the toughest of any team in the Mountain West, either side, and that's Michigan week 2.
Yeah,
a team that arguably you and I have talked about as a college football playoff favorite.
Yeah, and then that's going to be. Really, this team has the toughest schedule of any team in the conference, and I have them finishing 2-11, and I don't see them winning any games in the conference. I just don't.
Okay.
So that is my breakdown of the Mountain West.
All right,
West
man.
Division.
All right. I like it. So we're going to take our last break here, and then we're going to just give you a little update on who we decided to do our next conference show about. So we will be right back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
And we're back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. You know what we're going to get into? A little bit of breaking news, as a matter of fact. And that would be currently now former Los Angeles Rams quarterback Nick Foles. Nick Foles was released today from the contract of the Los Angeles Rams. He is currently now a free agent. Many of those know Nick Foles as the quarterback who probably was most productive in the Chip Kelly scheme in Philadelphia. Yes, the Rams have cut Nick Foles after a release request, as a matter of fact.
And remember, the Rams had very unsuccessful trade attempts, and Foles was 4-7 as a starter last season. And do you possibly see him rejoining Chip Kelly?
I don't know. It's something you and I will get into probably on our next episode.
Okay.
Depending on what happens between now and Tuesday or Monday.
Monday.
No, Monday. But
yeah.
It's something we'll get into. I don't know. I mean, yeah, but then you're gonna muddy up an already weird situation in San Francisco.
Yeah, that's such a that's just a situation that we can do an entire show in itself. But anyways, for our next conference preview, we're gonna do one next week. Is that correct, Alex?
Yes, we are.
Okay. And did we decide which conference we're gonna do?
Yes, American.
So we're doing the American Conference, the AAC, that is. The AAC. All right. So
the AAC, the Air Conditioning Conference.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The All Air Conditioning.
The All Air Conditioning Conference.
Boom.
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna do the American Conference next week.
Okay. Yes. And
probably our second show next week on Wednesday show.
Yeah, it's gonna be our
Tuesday show.
Is that going to be our final Group of 5 conference preview?
Yeah, because then we're gonna go
into the ACC
and then the SEC.
So we gotta get these done.
And college football should be right there.
Yeah,
man.
and then we got the Hall of Fame game coming up next week, so we might do a couple of special shows for that.
Yeah.
So we like to thank you guys for tuning in to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at GSMC_football, as well as Instagram at the same handle. That is at GSMC_football.
Mm-hmm.
And you can like us on Facebook at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. You can check us out at GSMCpodcast.com. You can check out this show, our other shows as well. And you can check us out on iTunes each and every week, 4 episodes a week, Monday through Thursday. You can also catch us on Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, and SoundCloud.
There you go.
And am I forgetting anything? I always feel like I'm always forgetting one.
Our website?
I already said the website.
Jeez, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube. Yeah, it should be good.
All right, cool. All right. Well, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, don't forget to do our, what we talked about last episode, our vote on Twitter, and we have that going. Is Devin Hester a Hall of Famer? Don't forget to do that. Don't forget to leave comments, subscribe, reviews, all that good stuff.
And
as always,
catch you guys on the flippity flip.
All right. Catch you guys on the flippity flip. We'll see you next week.